Welcome everyone to another episode of nobibsburpsbottles. I am your host, Dr. Angela L. Harris. I tell people you can call me Doc Sarah, you can call me Angela, just keep it clean, keep it clean. And I'm so excited to bring another special guest to you guys. She has done phenomenal things, but we are going to jump right into it because I want you to hear the sister's story. So I have Dr. Phyllis Gillians with me today. And I just want you guys to welcome her with open arms. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, her child-free journey, and a little bit about the interesting and exciting things that she is doing in regards to her professional and personal experiences. So she is also my soror, so I'm also excited to mention that. So hey, soror Phyllis.
Hey, soror Angela, and I thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm very excited to finally meet you and to be a part of the movement.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, like I said, you have been doing phenomenal things. So I'm going to let you share with our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am Dr. Phyllis E. Gillians. I'm 54 years old, born and raised in the great state of New Jersey. I am a proud product of Essex County Public Schools. I was born in East Orange, New Jersey, and raised in Orange, New Jersey. I am a proud graduate of St. Augustine's College, now University in Raleigh, North Carolina. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice. I also have a Master of Social Work degree and a specialization in children and their families, clinical concentration from Fordham University Graduate School of Social Service, where I also hold a postmaster's certificate in child and adolescent therapy. And I'm also a former employee at Fordham University. I was assistant to the dean in charge of student programs. And while I was there, I took advantage of a wonderful opportunity of pursuing my Doctor of Education degree, yes, in executive leadership, administration, and policy, excuse me. And then I just laid back for a little while, took a little break for about a year, and then I moved here. I currently live in Bowie, Maryland. I am an associate professor of social work at Bowie State University, BSU. I've been in this position. Next month will be 10 years. I came here with my master's degree in social work and was hired and decided to move here and accept the position. I teach in the Department of Social Work. I teach 2 courses, Introduction to the Profession of Social Work and Male-Female Relationships. So I love teaching the juniors and seniors about healthy relationships with their friends, family, and significant others. It's a very popular course at Bowie State, and it gives me the opportunity to talk about the realness of relationship and what's healthy and what's not healthy. My side hustle has always been teaching, always on the side. Even when I worked as an administrator, I started teaching part-time as an adjunct professor in 2005 at Manhattanville College. So that was my side hustle. I always teach my students, you have to know how to spread your hustle, especially in the field of social work. Spread it legally. We spread our hustle legally. So, that was always my side hustle. A single mother who was divorced. By the time I was 9 years old, my parents were divorced. I have 3 older sisters. One passed in 2019 unexpectedly, and I lost my mother in 2017. But she laid the foundation. And that will lead me into my story about how I am single at the age of 54 and motherless.
Well, I say let's just get right into it because I'm excited to know your story, and I know the audience is excited to hear your story too. So how would you, my soror, Dr. Gillians, how would you describe your life currently as a child-free African-American Black woman? How would you describe it?
It's so peaceful here. I'm in my space. You don't even hear the fish bubbling, behind me. I'm good. I'm good with where I am. I would describe it as very exciting. I can go and come as I please. I don't feel like, I have to worry about anyone. I don't feel empty at all. I'm in a very proud space and to be able to say, hey, I stuck to something I believe, that I have always believed in. And, there were some stumbling blocks along the way, but I'm glad to be in this space, child free. I think this is the way it was meant for my life to end up this way. And I'm happy. I'm happy with that.
Mhm. And that's really what this podcast is all about, is really highlighting and celebrating sisters like yourself to be able to dispel the myth that we're not just kind of hiding under a rock and we're, so sad that and so incomplete because we don't have children. And you've displayed yourself that peace, that calmness, that happiness. But now that you kind of talk about that, were there ever what are your earliest recollections of either wanting children or not wanting children? Like, when did that come into focus for you?
It never did. I never thought about it. I never thought about, oh, I must have children by this time. I want to be married. It was never a thought. Like, it was something that had to happen in my lifetime. Like, I'm going to get married. I must do this. My, I guess what I grew up thinking about more so was education, education. My mother said, I'm sending you off to college not to get an MRS degree. I'm sending you to get a BA or a BS degree. So I always thought about education first. And that's the route that I took, education at that time, graduated from college, going right to work right after college, becoming independent. And I like that freedom. Let's just perfectly honest. I mean, I was able to get up and move to Miami and move back to New Jersey and move to Stamford, Connecticut, and move to Bowie, Maryland. And I didn't have to worry about anyone except for me, or a significant other, or to worry about a father or a custody issue or anything like that. I could just pick up and did pretty much each time. So,
And just go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It made me, I think it made my life easier to be able to be so carefree, to be able to go and come as I wanted to and not have to worry about a little one at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see it as being selfish. Some people say, well, that's selfish. No, not when you're thinking about yourself and your self-care first.
Mm-hmm.
It's not being selfish. It's taking care of yourself and knowing what you're able to do and what you don't have to necessarily do just to be.
And so a lot of times society or people or families or partners, people believe that women at some point have this calling or this yearning to produce and have children. So that biological clock, right? So are you saying that biological clock was silenced for you and that it just never started ticking, therefore it wasn't even on your radar to think about being a mother or having children?
That biological clock started when I cared for my nephew when I was 16 years old, and his mother went off to college in North Carolina. My third oldest sister gave birth to a bubbling little boy during her senior year in college. And when she went off to college, my mother and I became his caretaker. And the same with my oldest sister, when she became a mother and I was in college, we all as a family supported, my sisters. And so I have been parenting from a very young age and had the experience enough to know what it is to change a child's diaper and take a child to a medical appointment, and taking my nephew to the babysitter every morning as a senior in high school. That was my job. People thought that my nephew was my child, but he wasn't. So I had the experience, with nieces and nephews and now grandnieces and nephews. Normally you would see a 10-year-old running around here because he visits me every summer because he feels like this is his vacation home. So I still have that experience. And then I teach. And I have about 85 new children every semester. That is enough.
Yes.
That is enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have. And they say, how many children do you have? I said, this semester I'm at 90.
Wow.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And really, that story is so beautiful because I have goddaughters. I just visited my great godson. I have a nephew. And a lot of times people think because we don't have children, that children are not somehow in our lives. I work at a college too. So thank you for sharing that experience, because you don't have to have children to be maternal, right? And you've just dispelled that you were able to give this love and have this maternal instinct to care for your nieces and nephews.
It started off early for me, and I was never asked. I knew it was my sister, and my mother gave us all the same opportunity. And people questioned, why are you letting her leave her baby and go off to school? And my mother said, I'm giving all my children the same opportunity. So that was something that was instilled in me. Education is so important. Have your own. She never said, now I'm preparing you to get married. I'm preparing you to be a good wife. She didn't take us that route. She said, this is what can happen if you do this. This is what I want you to know. This is what I want you to focus on. This is what will lead you the path. You need to know this. And she gave us all the tools,
Mm-hmm.
that allowed me to even be at this point today. So I
Yes.
think it's the experience. And I don't really, society has its rules and regulations about everyone. There's something about some other group I might belong to that they have something to say about. But this is an opportunity for us to say, hey, yes, I don't. And I don't have to, I guess, conform to the norm, what society says that we should bear children, that we should have husbands, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, yes. Well, let's jump into the next question. So, what are your positive or negative experiences in groups with friends, family, colleagues being child free? And maybe some additional information to that. I know people share their stories about, being at work and being asked to work late, or the assumptions that are made about professional women who don't have children, that, we don't have anything to go home to, so why not work an extra hour? So what are your positive or negative experiences in those groups being a child-free sister?
I think that the positive experiences, I've always been the support that even my workers, me having the understanding of the babysitter is not coming today. And okay, but you've got to work. Okay, bring them in my office behind my desk, setting up the palette, understanding, even being a professor, understanding that, working at HBCU, it's going to be a little bit different. Some of the students are going to have children. You can't have them sit in the hallway. They have to sit in the room with the parent. All right, let them put their headphones on because they don't need to hear what Dr. Gillians is going to be saying. There's some stuff going on in here. Having that understanding of what's different. The experiences that I would have with my friends is making sure that their children, when they will come over, understand this is Auntie Phyllis's place, and here we don't jump around. No, no, no,
Yes.
no, no. We don't. And so the parents looking at me like, their kids. I say, okay, but they're yours. Do something about that. Okay. So, having that type of fun and, looking in, but my friends understanding, telling the kids, don't touch this, don't touch this, don't get in Auntie Phyllis's way, and things missing, and my OCD setting in about touching and moving things, but never anything negative,
Okay.
about why don't you have children, or should you. My father asked me once, when are you going to slow down and have children? And I was surprised that he even said that to me, but I never had any pressure put
Hmm.
on me, always positive experiences, and basically helping my friends being a part of their children's lives as auntie.
Okay. Auntie Phyllis, right? Oh,
Uh-huh. Auntie Fabby, because I'm fabulous. They call me
Fab.
Auntie Fabby.
I like
I made that up. I made
I like that. I like that. So you mentioned your dad, right, a few seconds ago. So kind of transition into just your family and your parents. So I know I've spoke to a lot of sisters where they're like, parents are like, it's ticking, it's time for some grandkids, right? And it's subtle pressure. It's a comment here, it's a dropping of, hey, what, when you think you're gonna have kids. So did your parents ever kind of drop subtle hints about wanting grandchildren, or inquiring about getting married, and kind of your life and you creating your own family?
No, it was different because my mother thought that because she divorced my father early, that she did something wrong. My mother divorced my father in the 70s. That was a time where women didn't leave their husbands in the early 70s. My father was very abusive. So my childhood, I understood what that meant, domestic violence, what it looked like, and having that experience and saying that's a relationship I would never want. So I think that guided me as to what I would stand for and not tolerate in relationships to make sure I was making the right decision. So I've never met anyone who impressed upon me that they would basically be able to fill those shoes. My parents, except for surprisingly, my father even asked that question because he's a man of few words. And I was surprised that he would even ask me that question. My mother never did. She never
Mhm.
did. But I was surprised when my father did, like, are you kidding? And I think it was because I moved with my father. I moved back to New Jersey when my father was ill. So he had never lived in the house with me since I was probably like 7 years old. So he wanted to ask those questions now, but that wasn't my thought pattern. No, dad, it's not, that's not what I'm thinking about. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
I didn't think I was at that point yet anyway.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Hey, I'm stopping my own YouTube video and podcast episode to let you know about nobibsburpsbottles.com. That's right, stop and visit our website today. We have a bunch of awesome child-free pride merchandise made especially for you. Visit nobibsburpsbottles.com today. Peace. So, can you share any challenging experiences with dating? So, you are beautiful. I follow you on Instagram. So, you have a vibrant personality and lifestyle. And so, with dating, has that been an issue with, do you want to date someone with kids? Is that a deal breaker for you? So, just your dating kind of your life and the conversations of children when you're dating a potential partner.
It would be nice to date someone who had no children. That would be my preference. However, at my age, most men have children, adult children, which is also good if they have adult children who are not in the home. None under 18 would be my preference. Because it's difficult, you know what I mean? And then they should spend time with their children no matter what. So I just prefer to date someone who doesn't have any children. That way I have no worries about them having, oh, the kids are coming, popping in and out or something like that. But I could adjust,
Mhm.
depending on the age of the kids, of the children, I should say.
And a lot of times, because we're in that age group, a lot of potential partners will have children. Have you experienced having to kind of explain that, or do the potential partners understand that? Like in regards to you don't have kids, you don't want kids. Like, can you give an example of maybe a conversation that either went well or was a little bit shaky?
It's you know what they ask, why haven't I? Because I do have that nature. Why don't I have children? And I said, well, I never met the person, that I wanted to have any children from. But meeting their children, the good thing about it is even the last person that I dated had children, adult children, and so I had the opportunity to be around them,
Mhm.
and have that experience because they're adult children, and not smaller children. So the experience for me has been very good. I haven't had any conflicts, for instance, like with someone always saying, oh, I have to pick up the children, or I have to go and do this, because I don't think I could deal with that. That would annoy me, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. And say more about 18 and up. Like, what is it? How about you meet a really great person and they have an 8-year-old? How do you weigh the options of moving forward? And what is it about the 18 and under?
Good luck with that, because there's child support, there's responsibilities that they must and that they should. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I wouldn't want to take away from an 8-year-old who definitely needs their parent at that time. I would pass on that. I would definitely pass, because I just feel it that, age and stage, it's always age and stage for me. Age and stage, what's going on? I don't,
Hmm.
I
Just not,
have no interest.
you're like
Yeah.
adult kids, check. Got it.
Adult children,
Mhm.
adult children be done. Maybe they're grown and happily married, living in other states,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yes, yes.
I'm okay with that, right? Living far, far. No, I'm just joking, but yeah, living far, far away,
Mhm.
never land.
Yeah, and that's the thing, as child-free women, we have to understand kind of what we want in our lives. And I know sisters who date people who have young kids, adult kids, and so it really is the person saying like, even though I'm child-free, if I date someone, kind of how is this going to work with my lifestyle? So, and we should be able to speak honestly and openly about our preferences.
Yeah.
So,
I'm pretty much over Disney. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't be fair. I'm over Disney, that's
mhm.
cute and everything, but no, I'm not there. And I shouldn't speak against that because what if I did meet someone? But if it would be to preference, mm-mm.
Got it. Got it. So in again, we kind of reference society and how society has rules for everything. And sometimes there's an agenda that's pushed out on certain topics or issues. What are your thoughts or views about how child-free individuals or child-free African American women are portrayed in society? Just your thoughts.
Yeah, it's more like we can't get a man. Something is wrong with us. We can't be independent, intelligent, educated, proud. We can't be this way. Something has to be wrong with us. And I think we need to be able to change it, that there's nothing wrong with us. Some of us know that we have choices and we're exercising those rights because that's exactly what they're for. Sure, there's always been a stigma, because it was set up that we should be barefoot and pregnant at home, uneducated and told what to do, not supposed to work. And look at where we are both, doctors, we have our doctoral degrees and we're not supposed to even be at this pivotal point. So something has to be wrong with us. We're not displayed in the forefront more to say, oh my goodness, look at this forum that my soror came up with. We exist.
Yeah.
You're finally giving us an opportunity to say, look, we exist and we're good. We're good with where we are. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with me. I have everything works down here now. That there was never any problem there. It was all good. Okay. I'm just happy, but no, it just didn't work out that way for me.
Mhm, mhm, mm. I love how you really talk about this barefoot and pregnant, because in certain cultures, and I think even still in the US, that is the mindset of some people. And again, this forum, No Bibs Burps Bottles, it's about celebrating us. No, no mom bashing, no save the planet, there should be less kids. That's not really my platform. Thank you for mentioning that, because we together we continue to dispel that myth. um do you believe the experiences of child-free African American women are different from other cultures, so white child-free women, Latino child-free women, women in other cultures, or do you think we're all the same?
No, I do think that there's a cultural difference. I believe there may be more pressure put on women in those cultures that married life. And that this is just me. I'm not speaking after anyone. No, I haven't done the research. This is just a general statement that I'm making. Sure, I believe that some cultures there socialized to be prepared to
Mhm,
be married. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. I think that's absolutely great. There is a difference, and I think in some cultures it's highly regarded, and that women should be married, women should have children, couples, couple marriage, children, that route. I believe that um, my mother said the same,
mhm.
be married, don't have children out of wedlock. And, my sisters chose that route because they have children out of wedlock. That's not something that I chose to do, that I wanted to do, to have children out of wedlock. So, I stuck to the way that I was socialized, but culture does play a big role in
Mhm,
childbearing and child rearing practices, I should
mhm,
say.
mhm,
Yes.
mhm. And so I'm gonna say a comment to you, and I want to know just your initial reactions and thoughts. And so I often post on Instagram, on my platform, nobibsburpsbottles, that people in society will see that I'm an African American woman before they know that I'm child free. And the reason why I say that, because my platform highlights Black African American women, but we also know the stereotypes and the discrimination that comes against us. So when I say people will see your color before they know you are child free, what are your thoughts or reactions to that?
I teach about racism. So, of course, that is the first thing that people see is your color. And then it's the rest. They see the outside first, how we present ourselves. They don't know that. And getting to the question, a lot of time it's interesting now the way I can be approached as an adult, and the things that people want to ask and they're afraid to ask, and they don't know how to ask those type of questions. But I just feel like today, people are more open and free with asking me questions about me. And I'm so free about sharing that this is me, that they're surprised. Because I always say, have your 20s and your 30s. You haven't lived until you've had your 20s and your 30s, and then you can have children, and then you can decide. There's still going to be stigmas associated with this independent Black woman who has no children and is not married, no matter what. I don't think we can get around that, but we have to show people with this platform that we do exist and we're good with who we are. I'm good, for real.
Yeah.
I'm really good, with this. And I stand firm about it. I have my mug. I use, and when I'm in class and everything, I have my mug. And they're like, what is that? I'm child-free African American women.
Thank you.
Like that.
Yes, yeah, and really it's here because it's just about just conversations where I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I'm trying to let people be empowered by, if you have no children, don't let your family, your friends, society, anybody tell you that you are less than, and motherhood is here and we are here. And so I appreciate you, being in the spaces that you occupy and sharing your narrative and sharing your story. Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, we have to almost stand up for each other to say it's nothing wrong with, you waiting. There's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with that. I mean, and I'm older, so I'm saying no, it's not going to happen at this age. Now, if it did, it would be the Immaculate Conception, and I'm keeping it. That's different, but that's probably not going to happen. But just letting women know that it is okay to wait. Don't feel rushed, and don't feel that pressure either, because you're the one who's going to have to do the work. And that's a lot to raise a child today. It's and so that's what I would I would say, put you first, and are you ready for this, because it's a major responsibility.
Now you mentioned, that at this age it's not going to happen because we talk about, the biological clock ticks and then it ends right at a certain age. Have you ever considered, or was it a fleeting thought about adoption, or just any other things that came to mind? Well, you mentioned that you had no medical issues. So it was, if you wanted children, you could conceive. But have you thought now at this age, if you wanted children, would adoption be on the radar, or you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because my background, for a number of years, I was a supervisor of foster care and adoption services. Yes, there are a number of children that are in foster care right here in the United States. I'm not going to another country. Yes, I would love to be a foster parent and or adopt a child. Absolutely, I would love to be able to bring or to give love to a child. It is something that I have considered, and I would love to do that. If anything, yes, even being a foster parent.
Because again, you have that maternal instinct, and you also have been able to gain that experience, taking care of your nieces and nephews and the students that you have. So that's good. That's good.
And it's temporary. They can always go back to where they came from. You see?
Yes, it's just like I can love you, I can care for you, and it's all temporary. So
and I'll see you the next time.
And you get to really shape the development of a child. So So there's a lot of conversations about legacy, right? You get married, you have a family, you have these kids, you pass on the name, you pass on your wealth, you pass on your house, etc. And as child-free women, a lot of times it's like, well, who are you going to leave your things to? So when we talk about legacy, being child-free, what would your legacy look like?
And the wonderful thing is that I have grandnieces and nephews who know me. I grew up, I only knew my mother and my sisters. We didn't have relationships with my father's family and my mother's side of the family, two sides. Um, so that was kind of difficult, not knowing that family and as an adult, just getting to know them. Now I make sure that my nieces and their children, my grandnieces and nephews, that they know me, that they understand, the importance of the legacy that my mother started, and about education and, it being a privilege and not a right. I don't worry about, as far as like, oh, who am I going to leave my money to? That's like the least thing that I'm worried about, worried about, oh, I'll just, leave it to this one or that one. That's another thing I don't have to worry about, worrying about leaving my children behind if anything did happen to me. It's
Hmm.
another thought, to think about. And then, just being prepared for, people will say, well, who's going to care for you? I got plenty of nieces and nephews, got plenty of them.
Hmm.
I'm not even worried about that. So I think my legacy would be that it would be as a family member who was involved with all the children, who was
Yes.
loved by many, and she exposed us to everything. They would have something to say about Auntie Fabby, no matter what. They would
Hmm.
have a story to tell.
Good, good, good. So, being a child-free African American woman, what message would you give to young women who may want to be child-free, but are pressured by family, a partner, or just the societal pressure?
It's your life and you should enjoy it because you'll have an opportunity to experience so much at a certain age instead of saying I had to wait until I was in my 50s. Take the opportunity to say, do it now while you're young and you can and enjoy it. Don't worry about any stigmas associated with you being single or you not having children. Think about, I want to enjoy my life first. And I tell my students this isn't something that I'm just saying today. Have your 20s and your 30s. Wait, slow down a little bit because they'll say, well, what about you? I said, well, I'll be honest. I had my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and my 50s, and I love it. So it's okay. It's nothing wrong with it. But, at least know what you're doing and enjoy your life and make decisions that will benefit you and
Hmm.
don't worry about anyone else.
Good advice. Good advice. And young women need to hear that. Again, it's showing different narratives, it's presenting different scenarios to young women. So, any regrets, anything that you would do different?
No, 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 not one thing different. I would not because just when your steps are ordered, how can you ever say, I don't know any other way? What could have happened if I took this route or if I didn't do this or if I didn't do that? I think that I'm happy where I am. I'll be 55 in October. And so I'm letting people know, period. Okay. They're
Yes.
letting them know that, look, it's okay. I'm good. I'm happy. I had fish, three beautiful fish, to think about. And I don't worry about a thing. I don't worry about what anyone has to say, about me because what people say, it really doesn't matter. As long as I'm in my space and I feel good, you know,
It's
that's
all good.
that's such is life.
It's all good. It's all good.
So
Well,
thank you for having this. Listen, this is amazing. People don't know about this. This is going to be huge. I'm speaking it into existence. People don't know enough or that there is a forum. And I'm telling us, sisters, it's okay. We're good. Don't be ashamed. Even if you're in it right now, it doesn't mean that, in 2 or 3 years you won't have children, but feel good and know that you're supported right now. So
yes.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Harris. You're amazing. We're sorors. We do things first. This is an amazing platform. So we have to thank you for
Thank
this outlet.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
just putting it out there into existence. So like I said, as we come to a close, I want to give you the opportunity to share the amazing things that you're doing. So please promote you. I know you have a book that's out. So shine, sister, shine. What would you like to let the audience know before we wrap up?
Well, I am so fortunate that I have a book. The title of the book is Keeping School Children Safe and Alive, Strategies to Stop Bullying and Prevent Suicide. It's a book that's based off of my dissertation that I wrote. I did a study of principles, understanding of bullying. We know it's a phenomenon. We know that children are committing suicide because of it, and we have to do everything that we can to prevent it. And I think it's very important that we begin a dialogue, a discussion about it is very important. Then I'm writing about racial profiling, training needed for the police officers. You know, they do need training, and who else to do it but as social workers. I keep stressing training because if they are a profession, they should behave as such. And social work being a profession, we help people change. So that's also some research that I'm working on. I stay very busy. We'll see how it goes this semester. Pretty much, I'm a second year law student. What else can I say? I'm going into my second year of law school at Fordham University in New York. I have no time to do anything else except for write and do research. If you don't publish, you perish. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yes, yes. Busy, busy, busy. I love it. And you are a great representation of a sister who is doing her thing, child-free, fabulous. You look good at 55. So again, this is what it's all about. No Bibs, Burps, Bottles, sharing our stories, sharing
That's
what
right.
our life really looks like, what it really looks like, not some fairy tale that people think like, oh, we're just so upset because we don't have kids. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that everyone listening, you enjoy this episode. There will be more information about Dr. Phyllis Gillians in the description notes. And please remember, womanhood is not synonymous with motherhood. Thank you guys for joining us today on No Bibs, Burps, Bottles. Take care. Peace.